Hey everybody, JokerFett here, back after a very, very long time. If I'm right, it's been like 4 years since my last video. And I was inspired to make this because a channel that I used to follow way back when, called Biker Trash Wolf, who was a collector of Transformers, um, he posted an update video essentially saying, I'm still alive, um, and here's what my life's been up to lately. So that kind of inspired me to get back and record this video, especially given the current circumstances of the world. Everybody's spending a bit more time inside, and that includes myself. And just give you guys an update on where I've been, what I'm up to with regards to collecting in Star Wars and my different fandoms, as well as what I might do in the future with regards to this channel. So, yeah, let's get into it. The last video I made, I think, was about like the Suicide Squad movie way back in 2016, which, yeah, that time flies. And essentially, since then, if you followed my channel back in the day, you know that when I went to college, I cut back essentially on all of my videos. I made a few videos since I started college, but like during the breaks and such. But essentially, going to college was the end of my channel as it was for a long time. Since then, I've graduated college, and I have a job and I have my own place. However, most of my collection, if you remember my old collection room, is still in boxes at my parents' house. Like I said, I have my own place, but it is still just a one-bedroom apartment, and I don't have quite the space to put up everything that I had back at the old house. Which doesn't help also that in the time since I was last active, my parents did move. So all of that stuff, all of the old collection room was boxed up carefully by myself, I will add, but it is just all in containers right now in storage. So yeah, so the majority of the collection is all boxed up, and since then I've definitely not collected as much as I used to. Part of this was at the time, Star Wars 3 3/4 inch figures were kind of being phased out in favor of the 6-inch Black Series. Since then, obviously, the Vintage Collection has relaunched, which I thought was a great idea. It's fantastic to see it come back. And they've made a lot of great figures since then based on the new Disney films. If you can see on my shelf behind me, I have several of them that I've kind of casually collected when I've seen in the stores. But that just initial, I guess, kind of push away from Star Wars 3 3/4 inch figures by Hasbro kind of tapered my interest off in collecting, I would say, because if you remember, Star Wars 3 3/4 inch has always been my main line that I collected. And the 6-inch, while I totally, I accept and I understand that some people were really jazzed to be like, oh, it's like collecting Star Wars all over again. For me, it was like, I don't really want to like start from like, nothing and just build my way back up in a collection again, because I had majority of the figures and the characters that I wanted already in 3 3/4 inch. So I'd say that was a big factor in me slowing down on my collecting. I don't really collect Marvel Legends or anything 6-inch anymore. I haven't collected NECA in a long time. That's not to say I haven't been tempted to. Certainly, Hasbro and NECA have come out with some great figures that I've observed from a distance. But there's just the fact of being in college, like being in the dorms the first year. It can't just be like bringing back toys back to the dorms. That's a bad look. And then for my second and third years of college, I was in a studio apartment where I had absolutely no room whatsoever. And then fourth year, I had a little bit more room, but it was the end of it, and I knew I was going to move away from my college town. And then now here I am, back, back on my own, back with my own place. Well, for the first time with my own place, really. So I would say that in the intervening time, I've become much more of a gamer. I would say, um, just that's been what I've trended more towards. I built a PC in 2015, the year before I really stopped making videos. And since then, I've built a new computer, which you can see here. So I would say that gaming is what has taken up the majority of my hobby time. Um, Also, in college, I got really into board games and tabletop RPGs. In fact, I have been the Galaxy Master or Game Master of several different campaigns of the Star Wars RPG. And I love doing that. I love the tabletop RPG. I think it's wonderful. So I would say that that is also part of my time, and I still keep up with doing the RPG with people I went to college with online through like Discord and whatnot. So that's definitely also a part of my hobby time goes to that. So overall, I would say that since I was last active, collecting is a much smaller part of my hobby expenses and time. And that's not to say that I like grew out of it and stuff. As you can tell, I still buy a good figure when I see one. I'm just much more selective about it now, especially with all the space restrictions I have, as well as being out on my own and managing my own finances. It's just I have to watch what I spend my money on and be really selective about it. So yeah, that's kind of like the brief on what I've been up to in the last 4 years since I last posted. Yeah, like I said, I went to college and graduated, so I checked that life goal off, I guess. Um, and as far as getting back into YouTubing, I like I said, the video that kind of inspired me to make this was from Biker Trash Wolf, who was a Transformers collector YouTuber way back when. Like I think he stopped being active in like 2013, so a few years before I did. So, but even then, he addressed in his video how YouTube is a lot different than when he was last active, and it certainly it elevates other channels above others. It's not as much kind of like I would say community focused as it used to be, because obviously I've still I still regularly watch videos and engage with YouTube. I just do not post on YouTube. And so just everything that I've seen happen in the past few years, it's much less a community focused medium, I guess, than it was when like back in 2012 to 2015, which was like the really active years for me. And I'm sure the community's still there, and I don't know who's actually going to watch this. Maybe some old faces will come back and watch this and say hello in the comments. Um, so I just don't really know what kind of market there is for my kind of YouTubing in 2020. Like I said, due to the whole lockdown situation, especially here, I live in California, and the entire state has a stay-at-home order. So there's certainly, plenty of time at home to make videos now, more than ever. And so, yeah, I don't really know what kind of videos to make because while I could make a more in-depth video, I guess, on Star Wars collecting and the state of, I don't feel like I'm as plugged into that world as I once was. I'm more of a passive observer of Star Wars collecting. And it's more like, oh, when I see something on the shelf, I'm like, oh, they made that. I'm kind of loosely aware of what's coming out, but not really actively like following the news and stuff on that. I could make videos on gaming. Like I said, that's PC gaming, something I've gotten more into in the years since I last was active. I could also make a video on just next week. the Skywalker Saga 4K Blu-ray sets coming out, and I do have that ordered, so I could do like a review slash impressions video of that, or just make a video kind of giving my thoughts on the Rise of Skywalker and the state of Star Wars in general, if anybody's interested in that. Um, yeah, so I just kind of wanted to make this video to give a kind of life update to show you that yes, indeed, JokerFett lives. I may have stopped posting regularly, but I'm still going around and living my day-to-day life as a human being. And yeah, to see if anybody is still out there, if anybody would be interested in me making a return to video making. Um, yeah, so yeah, just kind of just putting this voice out into the void potentially. If I don't get any comments back on it. But if you're still out there, and if if you're part of the old days or whatnot, I'd love to read a comment from you in the comment box, and engage with you down there, and who knows, maybe get back to some semi-regular video posting about my current hobbies and interests, if that sounds like that would be something that people would care to watch. So yeah, thank you all for tuning in to this update video many years after the last one. But thanks for tuning in, and may the Force be with you.